there's bigger things than the racetrack. And yes, those feelings are still there and all of that is valid, but we have this family, like we've got our girls, we've got each
Yeah,
other, and there's more than a bad race.
totally. Welcome to Believe in the Good with Haley Dillon, the podcast where we go beyond the track and into the lives of NASCAR wives, families, and the incredible community that keeps this sport moving. I'm your host, Haley Dillon, and here we're all about the stories that fuel us. The highs, the lows, the grit, the grace, and the goodness we find along the way. So buckle up because we're diving into real conversations, behind the scenes moments, and the kind of inspiration that reminds us no matter what, there's always good to be found. So let's hit the gas and let's get into it. Anyway, yay, I'm so glad that we're doing this. Thank you so much for coming on.
Here I am.
Did you just come back from like Pilates or something?
No, parent teacher.
Oh, yes, we just did ours last night. How did that go?
It was good. It was better than I expected. We're dealing with a lot of attitude at home right now, so I was a little worried. That was, where we were gonna end up at school, but we're good. We're good. So
good. Yeah. So for everyone listening, Captain and Aspen, two of our kids, I was going to say our youngest, I'm like, that's not true, are in the same class. And they're also destined to be married. And Taylor and I are going to be in-laws one day. So everyone just prepare themselves for that. No, they're so cute, though. They do. They like love each other. And I just think it's the sweetest thing ever. And yeah, they're just so cute.
In school together, but then they also have each other like at the track too. Because she didn't really know anyone before Captain. Like she knew people at the track and whatnot, but having that relationship outside of the track is really fun.
And especially since they're so little that they don't really remember. Like Oakley kind of had that with Molly, right? But I mean, they were literally in class together last year and they would go to the racetrack and be like, hey, you're in my class. I'm like, yes, you guys. Now they're old enough that they like get it. Well, and I feel like that's Captain and Aspen right now, that they're like, hey, I know you. It's just so funny for them. I think that they see each other at the track and they're like, still surprised. You're here. Yeah. Wait, I'm not. So cute. I say, did you just come back from Pilates? Because I feel like you live in the gym with your abs. I'm like, I don't know many people prior to having two babies that have a stomach like you. I joked one day with Taylor that I could there's no way I could tip you over because you have a strong core. Such a weird way to put it. But I wanted to ask you, where do you go to Pilates? Because I don't want to go at the same time as you because I'll be so embarrassed, but...
Oh, we should go together. No, I go to Solid Core. So it's not Pilates. It's called Legree.
Legree.
So it's on a reformer.
Okay.
But it's, how do they say? They say it's like more of a HIIT type workout.
Oh.
So it's your heart rate up, but it's low impact. So it's not like weightlifting, obviously, and like that kind of thing. But it's very core based, solid core.
Yes. It's called Solid Core?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm writing it down.
It's one of the hardest workouts I've ever done. And while you're in the class, you're like, why did I come? Why am I doing this? Why am I here? And then you leave and you're like, should I book another one?
Yeah.
It's fun.
That is so great. I have a little gym in our house and try to, get at least 20 minutes a day in. But
are you amazing? Are you kidding me?
Oh, thank you. I really need to start going to some Pilates or something because I know there's a place near here and I just think it'd be a lot of fun.
What is it called? Is it Club Pilates by chance?
It could very well be gone as well. Maybe they're gone.
Might not even.
I need to do a drive-by. I'll do a Google search first before I plug wherever that is.
So,
yeah, I'm ready with my water bottle. No one's here. Yeah, I'm ready for my class. Ma'am, that's not how it works. Okay, so Taylor, tell me about you. Tell me about where you're from and a little bit about your upbringing and about your family and everything.
Yeah, so I originally am from Wisconsin, born and raised in Wisconsin. We moved here 2011. I want to say it was. I just turned 16. And actually, it's funny. So in North Carolina, you have to have your permit for a year before you can get your license. And in
Yeah.
Wisconsin, it's 6 months. And so I had only had my permit for 6 months. And I had just turned 16. We moved and I couldn't get my license here. So I flew
Oh,
back to Wisconsin, got my license, and then came back to North Carolina and then switched it over like whenever I was like here for long enough or whatever it was.
yeah.
But yeah, I've got three younger sisters. My parents actually got divorced when I was 3 or 4, but my dad lives here now. So he was in California for a while, but now we're all back here. Like my immediate family is all in North Carolina. So that's been really fun.
So your three younger sisters, are they from your mom and dad?
They are
Or
from my mom and my stepdad, which they're not
okay,
married anymore. But yeah, so they all have the same dad and then I have my dad. So they're half sisters,
okay.
but
I
yeah.
gotcha. Cool.
Hmm. Yep.
And how old are they? Are you guys close? Are they all in the area?
So all of them are at school. The oldest one is 7 years apart from me. So she just turned 23. And then the middle one is 21. And then the youngest one, her birthday's today, and she is 19. 19.
Oh my gosh. So I have a 19-year-old little sister. She's almost 19. Yeah. I never realized that.
That's so
It's
fun.
kind of fun having the like age gap. She is doing beauty school. She's doing school to
Okay.
do hair. Yeah.
Yeah, fun. It is kind of
Yeah.
in that gap. When they were like younger, they were like my little babies.
That's how Dakota feels to me. She feels
Yeah.
like is like my oldest child in a way.
Yeah.
Now it's finally hit this shift where we're friends so much more than me feeling like a mothering.
Thing.
Yeah,
Yes.
exactly. But it's so funny. She makes me feel really old
Yeah.
sometimes where I'm like, what does this mean?
Yeah.
What is Riz? What is, the things that I'm asking her? And she's, oh my God, Haley, just like Google it. I always on her birthday try to send her a gift with the amount of like little things, but like with the amount of things that is her age. So like last year I sent her 18 things. I need to start figuring that out. But I like wrap them. And last year I literally on each one of them, I wrote some sort of like Gen Z slang on them. And she was like, Kate, clearly you Googled these because some of these are so not even a thing. But she got a good laugh out of it. So anyway, so growing up, you grew up in Wisconsin, you said, and so when you were a kid, did you ride horses, right? Is that something you
Yep.
did a lot?
I did. I started when I was 4. Just we were on vacation and it was like like the carriage horses or whatever. We
Mhm.
saw one and I was like, "Oh, I want to pet it." And the guy like let me sit on the horse instead of in the carriage, just sit on it, whatever. And that it was all over from there. So
Yeah.
that's started. Yeah.
And so then you went on to do, I don't really know any of the terminology, but you like show horses, all of that, right? I mean, you did like competitions and stuff.
So I started when we were in Wisconsin, I did eventing, and that's you do dressage, cross country, and show jumping, and it's kind of like a couple days, and then you like have your score afterwards, and that's how they place you. And that's not as big of a thing here. So when we moved here, I was kind of just riding and not really competing. We found a barn and they do show jumping. And so I ended up kind of dabbling in hunter jumper stuff and really ended up liking the jumper aspect of it. And so that's just what for the last, gosh, 15, 14 years, I've been doing show jumping. So
So do you still do any of that?
I do here and there. With two kids, it's been a lot harder to
Yeah.
figure out like timing wise.
Yeah.
So I haven't done it much this year. One of my sisters actually rides as well, and so she's taken over my horse for this year until I can kind of get a handle on everything.
On life and the balance of that. Yeah. Do you guys have horses or do you like board a horse somewhere or?
I have one horse, and I actually keep her in Savannah, Georgia.
Oh,
So I went to school for 2 years down in Savannah, Savannah College of Art and Design,
oh
and I
wow.
found my trainer down there. And I love her and I trust her, so we've just
Yeah.
kept her down there. And normally we'll just
So,
like meet her at shows and whatnot.
oh, cool.
Mhm.
So you went to the School of Art and Design in Savannah. That sounds amazing. What were your intentions? What drew you to do that? Like when you were a kid and people asked you, what do you want to be when you grow up? Like what was that and where are you at with that now?
I just wanted to do something with horses. So they have a really cool equestrian program. And it's so broad, but you can learn how to do like architecture of barns or be a trainer or a vet. Like they have just all the things. So I didn't
So
really know
fun.
exactly what I wanted to do career-wise with horses, but I knew I wanted to do something. And so I did that. I ended up not finishing school there because it was an art school and I am not an artist in the slightest, like at all. Can't draw, not creative, anything. And so you have to take art classes, which obviously, so you don't take science, you don't take math, you don't take any of that. You take like drawing and whatever. And I was failing those classes. I was trying so hard to draw
Yeah.
and sketch and spent so many hours on my projects and I would get D's and
Oh my gosh.
it was so stressful. So I was like, I can't do this. So then I stopped school and then I just really started showing a lot and that's just what I focused on.
So
So
where did you and John Hunter meet in all of this? And how long have you guys been together?
so we met the summer of 2019.
Okay.
Um, I had moved home. So I went to school in Savannah for a couple years and then I ended up staying there for I think it was 2 more years. And then I ended up coming back home. And then we just have mutual friends. Me and one friend really were going on the lake and we needed somebody to drive our boat. We didn't have anybody to drive our boat. And so we asked if he could drive our boat because he knew how to drive boats or whatever. And so he drove it for us. And then the rest is history. We just started hanging out after that.
Really? So you guys had mutual friends. You were like, okay, come out and ride our boat. So what was that first connection like? Like, at what point did you guys start talking? Like, when was your first kiss? First
So
date?
invited me out to, it was the Charlotte race. The night before that was the Charlotte race in May of
Uh-huh.
2019. It was the night before that. He was like, just come hang out. His friend was there and I was with one of my friends. So we were hanging out. We went to the little dirt track, or whatever,
Yep.
and
Right
watched that.
next to the Charlotte track. Yeah.
I was not a fan. Like I didn't grow up around this thing or anything like that. So I'm sitting there, this is not fun. I can't see anything.
That dirt track can get so dirty. I mean, I know that's such a silly
Like,
thing to say, but like, I've been there one time and it was unbearable. So I was like, all right, I'm just going to go sit in the car.
yeah,
I don't know if maybe in particular it's really bad because I mean, I've been to a lot of dirt tracks and I don't know if that one in particular gets really
yeah,
slingy or something, but literally I was like, I can't do it. I mean, what's the point? And so I think I sat in the car, we had perched and we could kind of see one bit of the corner.
right. Yeah. And there's so much dust everywhere. You're like,
Yes.
I don't know what's going on.
So you
Well,
guys went to that and then you were like, this is not my jam. And then how did he make it work beyond that?
then we went back to the bus and we were just hanging out, just all four of us. We were just chilling. And then, he kissed me.
No, I think it's cute. I mean, I think that it's kind of funny. You guys just were like, you were like, I'm not a dirt racing chick. So then You went to did you go to the race the next day, or like his race? What was he racing at that point in time? Was he in Cup at that point?
It's Xfinity. He was
Okay.
racing for GMS.
Okay.
Xfinity. Hmm.
Yeah. And like when you got into that whole world, I mean, what were your thoughts when suddenly you were following racing? I mean, were you interested in it? Did you immediately, were you like, okay, this is cool. I could see this, like him traveling each weekend. Like, how did that work for you guys in those early days, those early months that you were together? I mean, how did that work for you guys? And what were your thoughts? Were you like, this is so cool? Or were you like, this is not going to work for me? I mean, what were your thoughts?
I feel like I was kind of 50-50. I don't, or I guess I didn't know anything about racing. I do somewhat now. I feel like I still don't know anything. But, it's definitely a cool lifestyle
Yeah.
looking in, and it's different. And, being able to travel and seeing like that perspective of it, I guess, and just, seeing what they do day in and day out is really cool. It's also a lot. It's
Yeah.
it's a lot.
That's what I
And
mean. Like those first, so you jump in May. You guys kind of had a quick, I mean, you hung out and then, like you say, you had your first kiss. Like you guys really had a whirlwind romance, right? I mean, you guys were together and then it was on from there. Like you say, you never looked back kind of thing. But in those first few months, like when Ty and I first started dating, it was right before his race season started that year. It was his first season of trucks ever. His first like real season in NASCAR in the trucks. This was back in like 2012. And so I was it was all a bunch of fun and glitz and glam to me at the beginning. I thought, whoa, this is cool. I was still in college, so I was flying back and forth. I mean, the things that you will do when you're young in love, like I think about that sometimes. I was flying. It took me 13 hours to get to him, to spend not even 72 hours and then go back home. Like that is like rose-colored goggles blindness. But when that kind of wears off a little and the reality starts to set in, it's okay, this is a lot to do every single weekend. My God, it doesn't let up. And now in Cup, especially, we have one off week, which happens to be next weekend. And, it's 38 weeks. So what were those times like? What were your thoughts? And also too, you are very fortunate to have your family here. So that probably helps a little bit for you to feel like at least you have your family around if you decide to stay home on race weekend. But what was it like early on?
honestly, it really was just fun.
Yeah.
You're just young and you have no responsibility, like we didn't have kids, and so it's just fun. Let's go to the racetrack. And then like you take your golf cart rides around the infield, and it's just
Love that.
fun seeing that type of world and like how other people experience it as well. Seeing them like go and have all of their fun, and you go to some really cool places and get to do a lot of cool things, and like the banquet and all of that
Yes.
is
So fun.
it was really fun. And then once we had Aspen, then I was like, whoa, this is a
Yeah.
lot. It gets to be
It's
more
tricky with
difficult.
kids. Yeah. It's more difficult with kids. It's still a lot of fun.
Yeah.
And we all love it. We're super lucky with it. But yeah, it's a lot with the kids. So you guys, you get pregnant, you're having a baby. It's COVID, right?
Yeah. 2020.
Yeah. So
2020.
what was that like? And what was I always ask people about their births because I'm kind of obsessed with birth, but give me the rundown. What was Aspen and what was Penelope's births like?
So they're both C-sections.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
They were.
I mean, I don't say
Um,
that lightly. I'm like, that's a whole other journey. Been there. Whew.
so I think we actually talked about it a while back when I first had Aspen, because I made a post on Instagram. I had the hardest time just
Wait, I
wrapping
do.
fact that I
I
had a
remember
C-section.
talking about this. Yeah.
It was never even a thought like in my mind
Yeah.
of, oh, I might have a C-section. I really didn't
No.
even know anything about C-sections. Like I just, either, oh, am I getting an epidural? Am I not getting an epidural? Like that kind of thing. I didn't
Hmm.
think like C-section. And so what ended up happening, I was induced with her. Oh, it was crazy. That's when they were doing the Bristol.
Testing.
It was
Oh my gosh.
the
Yeah.
first time they were ever doing it. And that, I was due March 27th. And however it fell, I think like the race was on the 27th or however it fell, it was like, that's kind of nervous. But then the race got rain. So I wasn't having her, like I wasn't going into labor or whatever. So we were going to get induced that Monday. He was racing trucks. So I was going to get induced Monday. Well, it got rained out. So then it was going to go on Sunday. Well, then Sunday got rained out. So then he was going to race Monday. So I'm like scrambling. I'm like calling my doctor. I'm like, hey,
Yeah.
like, I think we have to move it, whatever. So we moved it to Tuesday, which that all worked out, whatever. And then I'm freaking out. I was like, well, hopefully she doesn't come, like, whatever. So anyway,
Yeah.
Tuesday morning, we go in, I get induced, and I was dilating, and I dilated up to a 6, and then I just stopped. And they weren't really sure why, like, whatever. And my water had been broken over 24 hours. So then they were worried about infection.
Yeah.
So they said, I think we should do a C-section, all the things, whatever. I was like, okay, whatever. And at this point, you're so out of it. Like, you have no idea what
Yes.
so I was like, okay, yep, let's do it. She was head down, but she was facing the wrong way. She was like
Oh,
sunny
sun
side.
side up.
And so I guess that's why I stopped dilating or whatever. So it ended up
Could be,
needing,
yeah.
but I had the hardest time, like just wrapping my
Yeah.
head around it and just feeling like my body failed me and like I didn't do what I was supposed to do and just all the things. And then people being like, oh, you're so lucky. You'd
Right.
had peace. And I'm like, no, it was not lucky.
I feel that. I feel that. People would say the same thing. Even my nurse at the time when I had Oakley, because she was my first, it was very similar. It was not what I anticipated for myself at all.
Okay.
But even my nurse being like, oh, you're so lucky. You can just schedule it now next time. And I was just, the like psycho in me maybe was like, no. And I was just hell bent on having a vaginal birth after that. So, and that was not necessarily new to me because my mom did have a C-section, her first child, and then she had 3 VBACs after that. So I was aware of that. I think for a lot of people, they don't even know that that's an option. And I feel that the recovery of that after laboring and then so rough. So did you struggle with postpartum depression? I mean, was your postpartum difficult? Did you?
Anxiety pretty bad. It was weird anxiety. It was like the intrusive thoughts anxiety.
Yes.
Yep. Holding her. It was scary. It was like someone was holding her. Like I think they were gonna throw her or something.
Oh, no, that's so true.
I don't know. It was just very, it wasn't like your typical anxiety. Because I
Yeah.
do deal with anxiety like day to day. And it wasn't anything like that. It was just I had just the weirdest thoughts.
Yeah. And
It's not normal.
no, and not thoughts that you would normally have. That's a very common thing. But when you're going through it and you don't know it's a common thing, you're like, what's wrong with me? Yeah. So did you express that to anyone that you were having anxiety like that?
I did. I did. I talked to my OB and he actually put me on, I tried Lexapro first and then I didn't really love that. I had side effects. And then he put me on, what is it called? Sertraline. And so I was
Okay.
on that. I think I was on it for 4 months and then he kind of like tapered me off of it once I started to feel a little bit more normal.
Well, that's good that you were able to sort of taper off of it too, because
Yeah.
sometimes I think I think it's good for someone to reach out, get help. And then sometimes too, I think the doctors can just kind of
Put a
turn
Band-Aid.
their head to that and overlook it. And then all of a sudden you've been on that same medication for 30 years or something, So I think that that's awesome that you had, a good doctor that helped you wean off of that. So then what about with Penelope? What was your birth like with her? Did you schedule a C-section?
So hers is a story too. So my OB, I love him so much. Love him. Like I follow him wherever he goes. I will never go anywhere. And so he told me that he was going to be changing hospitals right in between, like right around my due date. And I was like, oh, you are? Okay. So I had told him that I wanted to try a VBAC and he was all for it. He was like, let's do it, whatever. He said the only thing is that I am changing hospitals. I'm going to keep my rights at this hospital for you so that if you go into labor or whatever, like I can still go in and deliver you, all the things. But I have to move my son into college this date to whatever this date. And I was like, shoot. Okay.
Yeah.
And so he was, if she comes before then, great. But if she doesn't, I don't know, like timing wise, if I'll be there, whatever. So then I was like debating either having the C-section and knowing the doctor that's doing
he
it.
Would
like
be your doctor.
And he's done it before on me and I'm comfortable with him and I know him and all the things. Or waiting to see if I go into labor and hoping that he's there. Or waiting to go into labor, hoping he's there and he's not there if I end up having to have a C-section and he's not there. And then the anxiety came out dealing with all of that and that decision. So I ultimately made this decision to just go ahead and do the C-section with Penelope too. But there's still a part of me that is like dying to just experience like a vaginal birth.
Yeah. We'll it, girl. You can do it. You can totally have a VBAC after 2 C-sections.
Yeah.
Common misconception here that people think that your chances, and I can get this information to you and I can tell the listener, there is a lot of medical-based information, statistics that I will source, but you absolutely can have a vaginal birth after 2 cesareans. So, and obviously I'm just telling you, you do what makes you feel empowered, obviously. And sometimes that's the choice to have another C-section. But if that is something you ever wanted to try too, you should. And that leads me to go ahead.
Just was going to say, like what you were saying too, like they don't really give you that option. Like you don't really know that you have that option because they're like, oh, you can just schedule now. Like you have one, now you can just, the rest of them, we'll just schedule you right in. You don't really know that you have choices.
Absolutely. And I think that the very, very common thought is after 2, you certainly then can't try for a VBAC. And that's just, there's so much evidence to show that there is very little difference in 1 VBAC after 1 cesarean to 2. And then there's just I'm not saying I'm a huge statistics kind of person, but I felt like in my gut, like I knew I was going to be okay. And I did so many things that I became so obsessed. And I really wanted to leave everything on the table. So I had no stone unturned. I did, I had a doula, I did chiropractic, I did acupuncture, all the things, knowing that it was still going to be in God's hands and that I was going to do everything I could do, but I had the faith in him that it could work out, and it did. And it doesn't always for everyone. I'm not trying to I'm no doctor or anything, but I don't know. As you can tell, it's something that I obviously get really passionate about because I've had many girlfriends that have had 2 C-sections that are like, yeah, that's it for me. And I'm like, no, it's not. Let me, please, if that's something that you desire, let me share with you. I just had a friend, my friend Kara. She had 2 C-sections and was pregnant with her 3rd, or apprehensive to even get pregnant with a 3rd because she just didn't want to have to go through that again. And we got to talking about it, and I was like, you just have to find the right provider. Here's this is some things that I'm not saying it was anything I did, but I think it inspired her maybe a little bit. And anyway, she just had her third unmedicated home birth, and she's, a rock star. So it's just exciting to hear stories like that, right? Yeah. But anyway, you do want to have more babies. I know we talked about that at one point, that you have your thoughts are maybe 4, but maybe at least 1 more, right? I mean, where are you guys at with that?
So it's funny. We were just talking about this at her parent teacher conference. I did want 4. I came from a family of 4 girls. So yeah, I've always wanted 4. Aspen is giving me a run for my money right now. That girl.
Yes.
I don't know what I did as a child, like the payback that I'm getting right now. Oh my gosh. She is level. So right now, I think we are totally fine with 2. I do think eventually I will want a 3rd. 4, I'm not so sure.
Okay.
She is just, I mean, she's great, but wow.
That's our Oakley. I mean, she is amazing, but she has been, I don't even want to say like my most difficult child, but she is, maybe it's that firstborn, that strong-willed.
They know what they want.
Yep, they're the ones that'll keep you humble for sure. That's interesting. Well, hopefully I didn't just scare you on my soapbox of talking about VBACs. You do you, girl. But I'm here for it all. Like I said, I'm real obsessed with birth. So something that so like literally, if you're walking by in the motorhome lot, Ty will be like, "Oh, there goes your girlfriend. I have such a girl crush on you, and I just need the world to know." But I am obsessed with your fashion, your whole vibe. You are like my fashion inspiration. Like, I literally, when I'm getting ready in the motorhome, I'm like going for the Taylor Nemechek vibe. Ty laughs at me because, I mean, we talk about you more than you would know. And in the best way.
No, that means so much to me though, because this is the first year that I finally felt like I have found my style. Like
you found it. And you're really nailing it.
Found it. Because I've always been I'm so bad at comparing. I'm like, she looks so cute all the time. I just want to be cute. I just want to be cute. And now I finally feel like I know what clothes I like. And now I'm like, I kind of feel cute. So thank you.
Yeah. Yes. I mean, is your husband aware of how smoking hot you are?
I hope.
I think he is. I see it. It's the tension is there. No, it was so cute to talk to you guys when we were in Darlington, because he was like flipping you shit about being on my podcast. And I love that. So, and we were talking about your tattoos and everything. So, and like your whole vibe, you guys are just like cool, and I can't keep up. So show the world too your unbelievable wedding ring, and tell a little bit about that thing. We could skate on it. It's gorgeous, and it's my ring inspiration. I told Taylor in Darlington that would be my anniversary ring inspo, and that is her like first ring. And so John Hunter was saying that he showed you like this is that. So first of all, I like talk about style. He obviously has some style and some sense to have that ring picked out.
Wait, so he told the story wrong though, because this is not my first ring.
Oh, okay.
He told the story. He messed that part up. Okay, so he showed me a screenshot of a ring, but it was a cushion cut ring. And that's what I originally had.
Yeah. Oh, so you did have a cushion cut, and this is a new one you had. Like, he proposed with a different ring?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
He did. So I had a cushion cut, and he showed me the screenshot of it was on the jeweler's like website or whatever. And he showed it to me, and he said, "I'm going to marry you with this." And I had that ring for 3 years. And we were in California for the Clash. We were in LA for the Clash. And we went into the jeweler. I wanted to get it cleaned or whatever. And we were just like looking around. And the jeweler was like, "Do you want to just try rings on?" And I was like, "Oh, sure. Who doesn't? Like, sure, of course, whatever." And so I tried on an oval one and I didn't really even say like much. I was like, "Oh, wow, like that's really pretty." Like, whatever.
Love it.
And so then he told me that he needed I was kind of onto him a little bit. He told me that he needed my ring.
Size. No.
Not size, but like he needed the actual ring.
Oh, okay, okay.
Like the jeweler to get it. He wanted to look at it or something. I don't know. It was like, but he needed my ring. And I was like, okay. So I gave it to him, and then I was just wearing my band around or whatever. And then on Christmas, he gave me this one, and it was the one that I had tried on there.
So when did you get that one? Last Christmas?
2 Christmases ago.
Okay. Oh my gosh, it's so freaking pretty.
Thank you.
So backing up to like your style, what is your inspiration and where do you shop? Do you do a lot of online shopping?
I do all online shopping. And it's so funny. You were saying like you ask your sister Dakota about the sayings and whatnot. I asked my sister, where do you shop? Like where do I get clothes? Where's the cool place to get clothes? And one day she texted me like a note off of her iPhone of just like 20 stores, and I was like, yes, this is perfect. Thank you. Meshki. Have you heard of Meshki?
Meshki, that is what you were telling me about this weekend. Okay, Meshki.
I get everything from Meshki. I love it so much.
Oh my gosh.
Zara has good stuff. Their website is so hard to work though.
Zara?
It's just very like overwhelming.
Do you mean like where the people are like,
and they're like posing all weird, but how does that actually look?
Yeah. No, I love Zara though. I love Zara in person. Like I score when I go in person, but like you say, the online is kind of tricky at Zara.
Aritzia has great stuff.
Aritzia. I'm writing these down.
Cardigans.
I was literally going to ask you. You probably are sick of me asking you where all your clothes are from.
I love it. I love it. Aritzia. Honestly, Meshki has been my main source shopping.
Yeah.
John Hunter hates
that is good.
It's cool.
I was going to go to some questions that I have on Instagram because I put on there what are some questions that, what should I ask? One was, is she planning to have more kids? Which we just touched on, as well as how did you and John Hunter meet? Which we discussed. But one that I thought was funny is Christopher Bell still their daughter's favorite driver?
He is. He is. He loves Bell. It's so funny. Anytime she sees him, she'll go, "Oh, that's Bell." I'm like,
Bell.
No.
She's
so shy. She cannot. She won't talk to him. Whatever. And every Jersey Day at school, when they have their little spirit week or whatever, she has this little Bell DeWalt jersey every time. She's got to wear the Bell jersey. And she's also got like this Cubs.
Is
that baseball team, I think? Chicago?
Baseball?
I don't know.
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah, that's baseball, right?
She's got a baseball jersey.
Dying at this point.
It's got Nemechek on the back. And I'm like, you don't want to wear your cool jersey? Like your baseball? No, I have to wear Bell. I'm like, okay, Bell it is.
That is so cute. So you guys are pretty good friends with Christopher and Morgan, right? That was one thing that Morgan was like, we'll go out to eat with them sometimes or hang out with them sometimes, go on the boat. And so do you have any other wives within the racing world that you are like friends with outside of racing? And like, how do you navigate that? Do you feel like competition on the racetrack trickles into like your guys' real life? Or do you feel like you can totally compartmentalize them? Or
so I feel like I can compartmentalize it for sure. But I do feel like others, not everyone, but there are some others that it's hard to be friends off of the racetrack just because, it which I get. I mean, I understand, like it's your husband or your boyfriend or whatever out there. But at the same time, it's not us. out there. And so I feel like I do a good job of Haley wasn't in the car, like
Right.
that kind of thing.
Yeah. Does that ever make you cringe when our husbands are racing against each other, or like your friends and the husband, like when they're, and you're like,
Don't
oh,
touch each other. Don't touch each other.
yes.
Like, get
Like
away from me.
whenever Ty and John Hunter are near each other, or anyone, like, but for this sake of this example, when they're near each other, I'm just like, oh God, please, 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 don't let it be him that you get in a like tiff with. And they're both so like different and sweet outside of the car. Like John Hunter, is he competitive with the men? Is he just F these guys, I don't want to be friends with these guys? Or is he seems like he can compartmentalize it pretty well.
No, he's very chill. He doesn't take it past the racetrack.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, if something big happens, like he'll be upset
He's passionate about it.
But it's not to the extreme of not communicating.
I know. Ty is not really a big friends with anyone kind of guy. Not a hater, but he's just not a very...
We don't really hang out with a ton of NASCAR people outside of track, but he doesn't like have problems with anyone. He's just also not like buddy with anyone.
Yeah. That's kind of how it is with like when people are like, who is Ty the closest with in racing? He's really not anyone, but not in like a way that makes it sound bad. But he's honestly, I'm not really friends with anyone besides, by the time I have free time, it's not really like I'm gonna see them. So it's just funny though. But they are obviously too very competitive. Like that, I think for them it is a little bit harder than it is for us. But like for me, I think that I kind of am like, life is too short and reason why I wanted to almost do this podcast is it's like, we are so lucky to be in this short snippet of our lives, I think we all realize that this is such a temporary time of life that we're all racing together. And so for me, I want to do this podcast, this type of thing to embrace the relationships, and not be the one that is super competitive outside of the racetrack. You know what I mean?
No,
yeah. Well, backing up to the kids being at school together and everything, what is a week like for you guys? And this week, we didn't even know our kids didn't have school today until yesterday.
They went to the library or whatever, and he was like, they don't have school tomorrow, right? And I was like, no, news.
And then he told Ty the daddy-daughter dance is on Friday. Yeah. And Ty was like, babe, daddy-daughter dance is on Friday. I'm like, no, it's not. It's next week. And we both were like, whew, okay. But we were like nervous there for a second because we have so much stuff on the agenda constantly that it's just difficult. But so for you guys, what does a week look like for you outside of racing? And do you guys try to get a date night in? Is that something important to you guys? And when you do, what do you do?
We try and prioritize date night, but again, with kids, I feel like it's so hard because they are gone so much. And I feel like Penelope, she's younger, so she doesn't really know, but Aspen, especially this age, like the attitude and stuff, I think it comes out more when he's not around as much.
Totally.
Also try and prioritize like doing something together as a family so that she can, feel some connection with him.
Yeah.
But normal week, he goes to the shop on Mondays. He has his debriefs, all the things. She goes to school. Me and Penelope hang out. I will say Toyota has been great. They let me go to the gym. They let me go to the gym and bring Penelope with, and they watch her.
Oh, that's fun.
So that's part of our week. We go every day, every morning. We drop Aspen off at school, and then me and Penelope will go to the Toyota gym and work out. And then normally we come home, she naps, I get some stuff done around the house. I go pick Aspen up from school. Yeah, he's at sim on Tuesdays. And then Wednesdays is like one of our kind of chill days. Most of the time he'll go to the shop, but he's around that day. And then Thursdays he's like around all day.
Thursdays are always the day.
Yeah, Thursdays are great. We like Thursdays around here.
Yeah.
And then Aspen is in gymnastics. So really just,
Do you think that you'll get your girls into riding horses?
I want to.
Yeah.
We were talking about this last night, actually. He said he was going to buy her a go-kart for her fourth birthday. She just turned 4. And he didn't end up doing it. I think he forgot. But I mentioned it. I was like, hey, like, you were going to get her that go-kart, weren't you? And he was like, yeah, I was. Like, should I still do that? Whatever. And I was like, well, maybe we could get her, not get her a pony, but, start some lessons, do that. And
Yeah.
he was, I don't know. Horses are more expensive than racing. I was like, they're pretty equal.
They are pretty equal. Isn't that crazy? That is something. So growing up, my brothers raced, and I always wanted to ride horses, wanted to have a horse. Oh my gosh, the whole thing. And like, my parents were like, no, horses are so expensive. And I'm like, as an adult, I'm like, yeah, you just weren't interested in the horses. Because they're not as, I mean, they're probably equal to racing, like, but the investment of it is it's a lot to take on doing horses with your kids. Our Oakley's doing some lessons at Lakeside Stables. Have you ever been there?
Oh, I haven't.
It's amazing. She's doing some lessons there and once a week, and she loves it, and she's learning really, really fast, and she does like a private lesson once a week. And so I don't know, maybe that'll be like her thing, I mean, she would have a horse. She would live on a farm, have a horse. If she's the little girl that like wants a bunny, she's an animal lover. I don't want to sound like a horrible person, but I'm not really the animal lover. I'm not an animal hater or anything, but I'm not the big animal lover. You guys have a bunch of dogs. I just saw your dog. How many dogs do you guys have? 4 dogs or something. Stop. See, if I got a dog, it would be that one. Is it a Pomeranian?
A little Chihuahua.
Or a Chihuahua. That's right. So freaking cute. What all dogs do you have?
So we've got Peanut. We have Willa. She's a Frenchie. We have 2 Newfoundlands. So they're like giant.
Huge.
Giant dogs. One she's all black. She looks like a big black bear. And then the other one, she's a puppy. She's 10 months, but she's already bigger than our other one who's 10 years old. And she's black.
Are you guys on Lake Norman?
We're not. We can see it. We're like right across from it. So the house across from us is on the lake.
Okay.
And we're just
That's us too. Because I was wondering if you had some property or something that you have all these dogs running around at.
Sure. No.
Yeah. Well, that's cool though. That little Chihuahua is so freaking cute.
Yeah, that's her and our best friends.
Oh. Dogs give you a lot more love than cats. We have 2 cats, and they really don't care that we're around. I think they could take it or leave it. Do you have any cats?
We don't.
What is something about you guys that people would be surprised to know? Is there anything weird that you guys do? One thing I always ask people is, do they have any weird nighttime routines? Do you have a 10-step skincare routine? Do you sleep with a mouth guard? No.
John Hunter told me last night, or this morning, he told me that I grind my teeth in my sleep really bad. So apparently I need a mouth guard.
Ooh. I sleep with a mouth guard, and I call it my binky. Because, like, I can't sleep without it.
I have got a little stuffed animal bee that I sleep with.
Why? Where did this come from?
I don't know. It's those jelly cats? Have you heard of a jelly cat?
Oh, yeah. We have 1,000.
Yeah. It's a little bee jelly cat.
Cozy.
And I sleep without it.
Oh, my gosh. How many pillows do you sleep with at night?
Just 1.
You are a serial killer. If you
I know.
You sleep with just 1 pillow. Do you sleep on your back?
I sleep on my back and my side. I used to have all the pillows.
Yeah.
All the things. And now, so I found this one pillow, and it's super, you're going to think I'm a serial killer even more. It's super flat, and it doesn't hurt my neck. Like, I wake up and I don't feel like an 80-year-old. So one pillow it is, and I love it.
My gosh. Is it like a purple pillow? You know those purple pillows?
I know what you're talking about. It's kind of like that, but
Like,
it's
is it
not
hard? Kind of like that Tempur-Pedic type of style?
sort of, but it's not the memory foam, but it is like harder. It's not like feathery or
Not
anything.
feathery.
I love it.
What about John Hunter? Does he sleep with one?
One pillow, and it's the same. So mine's a little bit flatter than his is, and I can tell. Sometimes they get mixed up, and I'll put my head down. I'm like, "This is your pillow," and I'm telling you, they're probably only this much different.
Yeah.
But yeah, one.
Wow.
I mean, we have
How?
creative ones, but then we
Well,
toss
of
those
course. Of
in the
course. Ty is
one.
like, whenever I'm bringing home more pillows, he's like, more pillows. Like, where can we fit any more on this bed? Or he'll be like, okay, because we sleep with 3 pillows each at least. I would prefer 4. So I'll do 2 behind
Yeah.
my head, one that's just like
Yeah.
the holder of the second one, basically, and then one on each side. Yeah. And that's same with Ty. It's absurd,
It sounds
especially
cozy
in our
though.
motorhome. It's really cozy.
I will say, in both I use two.
Okay. Is it
Put
because
one
your
on.
bed? Is it because your mattress slips off the thing? Because that's our problem.
No, ours does that. Yeah, ours like
Yes.
slides off.
Yes.
No, but the nightstand or whatever that's like right next to your face, I put one
Yeah.
right there.
Yeah.
So I
Because you've rolled over and smacked your face on it before. Yes. I've done the same thing.
I
So do
have.
you guys have a motorhome that you take on the road that's like your bus?
Yes, we do.
Okay.
We
You don't
bought one.
rent.
We bought one last year, beginning of last year.
Is it a Newell?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I'm only basing off of your photos that I've seen. It looks really pretty. I need to come see it in real life.
do.
Yeah.
Your guys' is the one that we were like, okay, we need one of these.
Right, because you guys rented our motorhome. So John Hunter and Ty have had similar roller coaster rides of NASCAR careers.
Yeah.
So you guys were renting our motorhome when we had no ride and wanted to keep our motorhome and wanted to keep the dream alive and try and keep pursuing racing. And luckily, Ty got another ride the year after. But yeah, you guys rented our motorhome for a season for a handful of races. And it was, you know, we were grateful for it, because it was just keeping our motorhome in use so that it was like worth keeping. You know what I mean? But yeah, so John Hunter has had a roller coaster ride of racing, kind of like Ty. He's done where he's gone from cup back to trucks, back to cup, which is like, I always joke it's the 9 lives of NASCAR because it's really been you see these people that Ty raced with and worked with on his team 10 years ago that are still in it, and they've raced for 5 different or worked on 5 different teams, and it's just one of those things that Ty has kept pounding the pavement and managed to keep getting deals, and John Hunter has been the same way. Now, I preface all of that because I'm curious, like, what is that like for you guys? Has that been hard? Has that been challenging for you, or like fearful for you of not knowing what was going to come next? And like, how do you guys deal with that? And how do you keep, does that ever affect your relationship? Like, what has that been like for you guys, this whole journey?
Yeah. So 2020 was definitely a hard year. It was COVID. It was
Yeah.
his first year in Cup. So that was the year like they were just showing up and racing. And then they did the whole
Yeah.
like sim racing, whatever.
Yeah.
So that's really hard mentally for him, just not ever being in a Cup car before and kind of just having to figure that out. And kind of alone too, like you can't really be around people and all the things. And then I was pregnant with Aspen that year. And at the end of that season, I guess probably, yeah, no, it was pretty close to the end of that season because it was super stressful because Front Row told him they didn't want him back full time. and could do like a handful of races here and there. And he just wasn't happy there anyways. And so he knew he wouldn't be happy running just a couple of races to run a couple of races. So he ended up telling them, thank you, but no thank you. And then we were like, what are we going to do? We don't really know what options he had. We had a baby coming, just all of that. So that was really stressful. And he had the opportunity to go back to Toyota in the truck series. And I mean, it was definitely, I don't want to say struggle, but it was, he didn't know, you don't know what you don't know. So
yeah,
you finally made it to the Cup Series, right? That's what you're working towards. That's the goal. And so you finally made it there, and then to go back down into trucks it humbles you for sure.
I think the fear is that you don't know, are you ever going to get there again? Because the end game, you want to be in Cup again. And so, Ty had that same exact thing where he went from Cup and then he went to a truck. And it was just like, am I going to be able to get there again? And the struggle of John Hunter's journey of starting in COVID and then having to go to trucks, and his first year being that weird year where he doesn't really get to rub elbows with the guys and feel out like, is this normal? Is this normal? Or, that most guys get to do in their rookie year. He had such a weird rookie year. So yeah, it was probably scary. Yeah, I know that feeling. We kind of experience that too. Like, what does the future hold?
What path is this going to take us on?
Yeah.
And so he ended up doing trucks for 2 years. And honestly, he'll say it too, but just, I think going back and building that confidence with, like an established team that does really well week in and week out just helped him to like feel good about himself again. And
it builds confidence. Yeah.
Yeah. And that shows too, like when they don't have confidence and there's no momentum, like they really do build off the momentum. And so the 2 years in the trucks was definitely, I think, needed for him for his career.
Well, he did very well in the trucks those years. That was a really good team, and he showed up, because that's another thing too, is you can be put in a great car, good equipment, and suck. and
a lot of pressure too, you're going back to trucks.
Yeah.
And so you better perform or you really are going to probably stay in trucks. Your career path isn't going to.
And he did. And he obviously showed up and he performed. He was good. He did great. And then what came from that?
So then he was at JGR Xfinity after the 2 years of trucks, which was huge. Like he had always wanted to be at JGR. That was always one of the teams of, I can get to JGR, like that's a goal. And so
totally
that was a really great year for him, for us, just all together. And Aspen being old enough to go to Victory Lane, and she remembers that, and just having those experiences as a family was really fun.
So cool.
Yeah. And then, now he's at Legacy back Cup racing. So
yeah, it's been such a journey for him and for you guys. And we know that. We know that story. It's a wild ride, not knowing what happens next. So when he has a rough day, like, how do you guys deal with that? I always talk about like therapy and doing things like that. Have you guys ever done any therapy together or separately, or, did you ever do like premarital counseling? And then that being one question. And then on a separate note, when he is struggling with racing, if he ever has a bad weekend, does that stick with him? And does that affect you? Because it affects us in a, like, we have our way of processing it, of dissecting how we're feeling about it when things aren't going well on the racetrack. But yeah, anyway, that's a lot to throw at you. But what are your thoughts on therapy and dealing with the rough days at the track?
Yeah, we did do premarital counseling. We were in counseling before we were married, and then through the whole process of getting married, and then after we were married. And then we kind of just stopped. I don't know, no rhyme or reason. He sees someone now. He mostly it's for the sports psychology side of things.
Mm-hmm.
So he sees someone for that. I would say for the bad days of racing, like most of the time, he's really good at feeling it and dealing with it and then putting it away the next day.
Yeah.
So most of the time, like if it's a rough day at the track and the girls are with us and we're traveling back, it's I kind of take over and just, handle everything and get everything packed up and let him, just decompress and do whatever he needs to do. He gets very quiet and
Mm-hmm.
like in his head, I would say. And so I let him do what he needs to do, decompress and try and keep the girls not away from him, but just
But away from him. I know what you mean. Yeah.
so that they're not like all up in his space and he can just kind of think and a lot of times too, it's so I don't know, cheesy, whatever you want to call it, but having the girls at the race or in the bus or whatever, it really does make a huge difference. Like him coming into
Yeah.
the bus and like girls and it really does kind of put things into I don't want to talk for him, but I feel like it puts things into
Yeah.
perspective for him. There's bigger things than the racetrack. And yes, those feelings are still there and all of that is valid, but we have this family, like we've got our girls, we've got each
Yeah.
other, and there's more than a bad race.
Totally. I think that helps when the kids are there sometimes too, because it just immediately snaps them into reality.
It's somewhat of a distraction, like
Totally.
when you see your kid, like kind of you forget
Yes. There
what's
was
going
some
on.
race where Ty had wrecked out or something. I can't remember what it was that happened this year. He blew a tire, and so then they had to fix it. And so he was like 20 something laps down, but it was just kind of a brutal day. But then, like, he immediately comes into the motorhome. The kids are like, Dad, let me show you this. Dad, can you open this? Dad, do that. And it's just kind of, oh, okay, I'm dad now. Like, let me retrack and I'm dad again. And like, it just made, and it was funny because like we're on the plane flying home and Bear was being crazy and just like wide open wanting to play and stuff, and so we're like passing him back and forth between the seats, and it was just a lot. And then in the car ride home I'm like, babe, I feel bad you do all of that and kind of had a crappy day, and then you're doing all this stuff with the kids, and he's just, how much better it is that they're there. And if I had to be alone and just stewing in it, yeah.
For
So sometimes it's I mean, not sometimes. It's always nice to have the kids there, and like we're lucky, that we get to do that. I always feel kind of bad when we're not there, obviously, because it would be fun to be at all of them, but it's so hard to get to and from and have the whole parade of the whole family and all the stuff that you're taking with you every weekend. But yeah, it's just more stuff. Like we have a good age gap between them, and maybe that's helpful that Oakley's 7, Captain's 4, and Bear is 1 tomorrow. But we definitely have, our moments where it's chaos, but it's not, honestly, for us, it has not rocked our world or anything. Some people say, 2 to 3 is crazy. Honestly, I think once you have 2, you're in the thick of the crazy. And then it's just, and honestly, I actually think that yeah, what's one more? I actually think that the dynamic is better with 3, because then they're not like, we can have them. Oakley's old enough, though, I will say, being that she's 7, she's old enough. Captain, too, though, even. Like, Captain's good with him. And I can trust that Captain can kind of watch him for a little bit. If I'm doing something, he'll make sure he's not putting something in his mouth. So I don't know. It makes them feel a sense of like responsibility, and the dynamic of 3 has actually worked really good for us. I think it's been really bad birth control. I think that we definitely will have a 4th at some point, but right now, we're waiting. But yeah, I think that you guys would adapt into 3 like a piece of cake. But yeah, it's just more stuff, like more equipment.
right.
That's what I always say.
I always tell him the car seats are what scare me. I don't want to lug around.
Yeah, the car seats and the car,
Like
the driving.
We're not in a full-on car seat anymore.
She's just in a booster seat now, but yeah, it is something to have to consider too, having more because you can't like physically in a car. Like Ty, if we have a fourth, he will have to have a different vehicle because he has a truck and, he just has the three in the back
Yep.
and they're bam, 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 all three. And yeah, so it'll be different. We'll have to be like a two suburban family or whatever, it ends up being, but it's crazy. Yeah. Yeah, it's a lot. Do you guys fly Victory Air typically? Yeah.
Do. We don't typically take them West Coast, the girls with us West Coast. So sometimes we'll fly out commercial and then back Victory.
Yeah. Sometimes that's easier because you can just kind of get it over with.
Yeah.
Because those Victory planes have to typically stop twice for fuel if we're going all the way to Vegas or Phoenix. And yeah, it's a doozy with all the kids.
But no, other than that, we're Victory.
So I'll wrap us up. I love talking to you. One thing I wanted to ask you is, do you have any 2025 goals or anything that you have on your agenda that maybe even like a 5-year plan that is something like a goal for Taylor?
I think one of my just overall goals is we started talking about Pilates, so I'll end talking about Pilates. But not in a horrible way, but our lives really do revolve around our husbands and signed up for it. I totally get it. But I think overall a goal would be to not focus more, but put myself first sometimes.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I would love to open a Pilates studio. So,
I will be your first member.
It's a thought that I've had, but
yeah,
we'll see.
That's a great idea. I think that you should, because also you could sell some amazing clothing in the front, some athleisure in the front. No, that is such a cool idea. That's that you would crush that. And I think that that's important too. Like you say, just making sure that you're putting yourself first and, taking care of yourself. And how do you fill your cup? Like, how do you fill yourself back up? Is it grandiose things like a spa day or you go on a trip, or is it just like getting 5 minutes to have a cup of coffee by yourself? What kind of recharges you?
Honestly, I have found a new love of working out.
Yeah.
Before children, I hated anything physical. I hated working out. I hated all of the things. But being able to take Penelope with me to the gym and just, I don't know, there's something about it that like first thing in the morning, like getting up and moving my body, and I feel good. I feel like ready for the day. She gets to go and move and play and all the things. So honestly, I love going to get a matcha and just relaxing and drinking my matcha.
One of my questions, and I'm so glad that you brought that up, is like, what is your Starbucks order?
Okay.
Or coffee of choice?
I actually have it right here. It's not Starbucks, but it's milk bread. Strawberry matcha.
Stop it right now. The strawberry matcha and milk bread is literally my favorite thing.
It is so good.
So good.
It's so hard for me to not go every single day because it's right there when I fast enough. I'm like, I need it.
Yes.
But
okay, maybe you've already had this, but another thing is if you get an iced matcha with a strawberry cold foam cap at Starbucks, highly recommend. I can't stop drinking it. I've had one every single day, probably for 3 weeks. I need to chill, but they're so good. Strawberry cold foam cap. That's what I say. I don't know if that's what I was literally on Blue Ridge filming, and I walk into this room where they were like doing all the little ladies that like coordinate all the actors all had these drinks. And I'm like, what is this matcha that's pink. And like, I could tell it was green, you know, and pink on top. And they were like, this is it. They wrote it down for me. I went and ordered it. I think I've ordered one every single day since. Like, I'm telling you, if you like the milk bread one, I mean, that one is still so good, but the foam of the strawberry cold foam, oof.
That sounds really good.
As the kids would say, it slaps.
Oh, yep. It slaps. Yes. The language.
Look at us. Oh my God, I'm so hip. You're about to turn 30. Can I say that to the world? And you are having a party. Are you going anywhere on the off week? That's the last thing I'll ask you, and then we'll wrap it up. Sorry, I'm going on and on.
We're not going anywhere. We were going to, and then we just didn't plan it, honestly. And so
little staycation.
Real quick. Are you?
No. We're staying home. Yeah, we are staying home, and we are looking forward to it.
Yeah.
We're doing nothing. We're going to it's Easter, so we're doing, Easter.
I think that too. We wanted to stay back to be around family for Easter.
Exactly. Yeah, same with us.
Yeah.
Well, that's awesome. That's what we're doing. It's just keeping it simple. And you're having a party for your birthday in a couple weeks, and that'll be fun. So you're just now turning 30. You're going to be in your 30s. They're amazing.
That's what I've heard.
They are. It's amazing. I'll be 33 in August, and it's, I don't know. Something about it. It makes you feel like a little bit more, you just feel a little bit more like, also being a mom makes you feel that way, but it's just a little bit more of I've got my shit together and I'm not to be messed with. There's something, I don't know. There's a groundedness that makes you feel like, yeah, I'm 30. I'm mature. I don't know. Yeah. What do I know? In my mind, I'm still 17. Anyway, thank you so much for doing this, Taylor. Very fun. I always fangirl over you when we're picking our kids up at carpool, and literally every time you walk by in the motorhome lot, Ty will be like, there goes your girlfriend. Are you gonna go talk to her? I have such a girl crush, so to be able to talk to you is so fun. And yeah, thank you for doing this. And that's a wrap on today's episode. I'm so grateful you spent this time with us. It means the world that you're here. And if you loved this conversation, make sure you check out the show notes for all the links and any resources we mentioned. I would love it if you followed me over on Instagram and YouTube. This is where I like to share things about my life, little tidbits about our family. And hey, if you enjoyed this episode, the best way to say thank you is by sharing with a friend, leaving a review, and rating the show. It helps this conversation reach more people who believe in the good. See you next week.